Red flag number 6 is, what if he does end up going to Chicago? Is he actually going to be the guy that turns everything around for this franchise after so many years of struggling? Because I don't even think Justin Fields is that bad. In fact, he's gotten a lot better, and I think if he was healthy last season for the entire year, they would have been all right. That team went 7-10 with him missing 4 games and ruining his rhythm along the way. So sure, they started off terrible, but once he got going, it wasn't looking bad. I think you're just throwing away all that work you put into developing Justin Fields at this point just because you think another player might be more physically gifted. That doesn't necessarily translate one-to-one that he's going to develop any faster in the NFL. All right, now that we got all my main red flags out of the way, let's cover some good things about Caleb Williams, and don't be fooled, there is a lot of good things about him. First is his elite pocket presence. It's no secret that the USC offensive line was not good at all in the 2023 season. But even when they did break down early on in the play, Caleb was still composed and hung around in the pocket for as long as he could. That's something that NFL scouts are going to love to see. Another part of pocket presence that's very tough to teach is the ability to feel pressure while not actually looking at each defender coming at you. Instead, Williams is very good at keeping his eyes downfield while the pocket is collapsing, which gives him 2 avenues to go down. Either find an open guy as the play progresses, or just scramble if there's nothing there at all. Second thing I love about Williams, working in his favor, of course, has to be his strong arm. Doesn't matter if he has his feet set, he's off balance, or on the run, his arm strength is going to enhance the chance of success for that certain play. We saw that many different times during his Heisman season in 2022 or even last year. Although USC ended up not being great overall, Williams still bailed them out plenty of times using his arm strength alone. If you put another quarterback in that same offense, that same position, they're getting blown out almost every game and not putting up nearly as many points per game as Williams did with that offense. Once he does get to the NFL level, arm strength is very important. It's at the top of that list, but that's not all teams are looking for from their franchise player. There's a lot more that goes into it. Now, the next great thing I've noticed about Caleb is his ability to switch up arm angles based on where the defender is positioned. If they jump in his face, whatever the case may be, he knows what to do in each of those different situations, whether that means throwing sidearm or rifling it over the top, for example. I'm sure that's a huge factor in why he's compared to Mahomes so much in the first place, along with some other points that we're going to hit on just in a minute here. Another aspect of his game that I know scouts will like is how effortlessly he can switch up the ball speed. What I mean by this is sometimes you're going to need a little bit of loft to get it over a defender's head, and sometimes you're just going to have to rifle it between a tight gap in the defense. Caleb just so happens to do both of those extremely well. And finally, the overall athletic ability from Williams. Now, as we mentioned a couple times here, he has one of the most gifted arms in terms of strength and accuracy that we've seen in years, but we haven't talked about his rushing upside at all yet. Williams is no slouch, and he's going to run the ball when he needs to, which adds one more aspect for defenses to worry about. Instead of just dropping everybody back in coverage or blitzing everybody, teams might have to just have a little QB spy on Caleb just in case he does take off. I mean, he's very shifty with his footwork when he gets into the open field, and even better, he's not afraid of contact at all. Teams are really going to have to work to bring him down. Now, I could sit here all day, probably pick apart hundreds and hundreds of different Caleb Williams plays for you guys to watch, but I feel like there's already a million videos on the internet already showcasing his many talents. The overwhelming majority of YouTubers are already making videos about how he's the next generational talent, but I wanted to give you guys the opposite side of that argument, like I stated earlier, and I want to know in the comments section below, is Caleb going to be that generational talent that everybody is talking about or not? Now, if you guys are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on